Scott Frost, the Freezer. Scott, how you doing?
Good, bud. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for everyone that's tuning in.
Yeah, it's this is going to be a crazy match. My name is Stephen White, and of course we have Scott Frost with us. He's going to be covering everything. It looks like Justin made a ball on the break, and this is a huge match. So the spot is 11-6, which means that Justin's going to have to spot his first ball that he makes. And LJ is excuse me, John Macias, Little John, however you want to call him. He's no slouch when it comes to money games, Scott. I think you can attest to the fact that he's probably the most experienced gambler when it comes to more of the amateur pool players. The guy's a monster.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And just touching on what's happening now is you make a ball in the break, it's a re-rack, and there we see a really nice break. And this is going to be the part of the game, Stephen, that I think is really going to show up the most, right? That being said, to your point, Little John, I've gambled with him for years, and we'll get this overhead probably adjusted a little bit here in the future. But I've gambled with him for years. He is one of the better amateur players at getting out of the break, but his break itself is probably pro level. He breaks the balls very well because he's used to getting the big spots. So he puts a lot of time into the break, which is the most important shot in this game. And then leading off here, it looks to me like he's considering doing something. Tough to tell from this line right now, but can he go through the 6? Or excuse me, maybe the 14. Yeah. Oh, he's hit it well. He used a ball to get off of it. That's how he's tracked behind the 15, and I think he's cut Justin off from the 1. So already a great return by Little John, and that's going to make Bergman put some extra work in. He'd like to get to the top right corner here and just leave him a little awkward, but that might even be a challenge.
It's a pretty stellar shot. Let me ask you this, Scott, because I've never had to give up these crazy games. When you're in a situation like this and you're giving up a huge amount of weight to a player that can obviously make balls and make some good runs, does it change your strategy going into the game, or is there anything that you try to do differently or more cautiously?
Well, on Bergman's side,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Justin's used to giving up the spots, but obviously his cue ball's got to be real tidy, right? Before anything else, he's got to have a real nice cue ball. One thing about Bergman that I really like when you're giving up spots is he's not afraid to take fouls because he already understands he's going to 11. So what's the difference in going to 12 if it betters your position? His cue ball is as good as it gets, in my opinion. In a game of one pocket, his IQ as well. He's used to giving up the spots. So does your style change? For Justin, not as much. He's not playing anybody even practicing, right? That does him no good. Kind of like when I was playing around town a lot, I would just give up massive spots, even if I had the worst of it, playing 20, 30, 40 a game. And that really keeps you in form. Now, something that Macias does really well, and I touched on it in my live yesterday, is he's very good at understanding the number 6. And what I mean by that is he'll play percentages where he might know he's giving up a shot, but he might splash to the pack to get 8 to 12 balls to his side or 4 to 6 balls to his side. He's going to take some uncalculated risks due to the number 6, right? Because he needs to get there before Justin, and he's not going to outmove Justin too often.
Oh,
Yeah, and already, I mean, listen, he made a great shot after the break. Justin has the first look. Now, this is what Justin needs to do. I think when you're giving up the big spot, I'm not knocking any aggressive player because I was one of them. But you've got to just kind of pick off what you can and then move from there. When you try to get all the way out and make a big mistake, that's how you get your opponent back in the game. So I would assume that he's going to drop down to the 15 unless he thinks he can get something from the high side. The only thing helping him here is the one, right? So if he drops down to the 15, now he can get to the one and carry an angle to the right side of the table. Now he might come back and forth to the one, but I really think he'll drop down to 15.
Scott, we've seen a lot in the past. There's kind of this debate about movers and shooters. The shooters tend to look at 8 and out as what their goal is, and some of the more moving players are okay with making 2 or 3 balls and laying up. Do you think it's important for Justin here to pick them off one at a time? When he doesn't have the full out.
Yeah, well, he's always going to, yeah, absolutely. He's always going to just look at that. And that's kind of why I really like Justin's style, right? He's never going to try and do too much. No, I shouldn't say never. We all try to do too much at times. But he's more of a thinker, right? And the cue ball in this game for Justin is always first. Whereas with some other elite players, the cue ball's typically not first a lot of times. They're looking at more of an aggressive play where they're focused on the object ball. I think Justin kind of shines in that department where he's thinking about, instead of running out, he's thinking about bettering his position most of the time.
Yeah, we've seen it in the past with players. I'll throw out Federer, Shane, Josh Filler, even Lee Van Corteza more recently. They'll they'll take the harder shot because they know they can make it, and they don't have to be as tidy with their cue ball at times. We've also seen it get them into trouble with some of the better players in the game. So this is definitely an interesting dynamic. Want to give a huge shout out real quick. Everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, we are live for just a little while on those platforms. It will not be an all day thing. So if you want to get your pay per view pass, go to xpool.live. It's only $25. If somebody won 21-0, you're paying $1 a rack, and you'll learn so much listening to Scott Frost. I'm telling you guys, don't wait. Go get your pass. Huge shout out to our sponsors as well: Jam Up Apparel, Railbirds Q Repair and Pro Shop, as well as Lucasi Professional. And we also have Napa as well. Those guys doing huge things for us and for pool as a whole. So just wanted to give that huge shout out to them. Scott, where do you see Justin going from here? Do you think he's going to try and bank at this 5 ball?
Yeah, now he is. I think he went to catch the five a little thinner. He caught the bottom half of it. He'll probably bank the five. I don't think there's anything else there. But he doesn't panic in those situations. Now, listen, I'm not biased on either side, but I've just seen so much about how big of a spot this is, and I get it. It's a big spot. I just think that some people might be overlooking the experience of Bergman. I don't know how he's playing. I'm not in his shoes, but I think the game is a little bit closer than some might think. I love Little John. I think he's a cool dude, great guy. And I think he's a great player for his level, if that makes any sense, due to what you touched on, the experience. So into the game, he's just moving a little bit here, and the 12 is going to help him a lot getting that over. You might consider, now this is something maybe I'll touch on. I think a player like Chohan or Filler or maybe even Gorst might already have banked the 7 and played the QL up to the top right. Whereas a guy like Justin is really trying to maintain his position and just stay to the right side. He's not going to give anything up that's questionable, right? He's not going to give Little John a look from the top right corner on that 12. Whereas some aggressive players, including myself, might consider banking the 7 and going to the top right. Well, the problem
Yeah.
here is, can he see the 5? Did he leave a window? Hard to tell. You need to get that overhead right.
Yeah, I don't think he quite left it. Yeah, the spot has been the big talk in this game because it is a very, very big spot. Now, if I'm playing anybody besides a super top player like you or anybody else, 11-6 sounds really, really nice. But Justin like you said, he's so good with the cue ball, and he's so good with understanding the game that he's in that this is a lot more of a coin flip than people would think. And if you're new to X Pool or if you haven't watched in a while, we do have a few new things here. So if you see on the scoreboard there, you see a little blue dot by Justin's name. That is indicating that he was the breaker in this rack, as well as there's a couple arrows there by the ball count. So that's going to designate which player has which pocket. So here you see the arrow pointing to the left. That is Justin's pocket next to his name. So if at any point in time you guys are unsure of what happened, if you stop to go get a drink or whatever, and you come back and things have changed, you can always look to that to find out where we are.
Thank you for that, Stephen.
Yeah.
And once again, Little John up in the top right, he doesn't like it. I mean, where the 5 is laying, the cross on the 7 is really thin, right? You got to be extremely accurate. But if you hit it clean, you could remove the 5 and get the 7 down. It could be a winning shot if he takes it on. I wouldn't be surprised that he does. Yeah, there it is. And he actually hit it clean. The cue ball tracked to the right position. That's a good sign for Little John. I mean, that's how thin you've got to catch the 7 to remove the 5. The cue ball always tracking towards the pile if you come off the correct side of the 5. You're looking to maybe swerve softly to the 7, but now things have drastically changed for Bergman. If he soft swerves to the 7, Stephen, then the 5 is open for the straight back. That's why he's considering trying to open up the 8 to his side. So he's got couple of options. The problem with opening the 8 up is where do you go with the cue ball?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, Little John obviously has been playing games similar to this in one way or another for a long time. So I think again, I can't really touch on it enough. Little John has so much experience in these situations that it's going to play a huge factor in this match. This is a race to 21, and I believe we're stopping at the 10 mark today. So we got a possible 19 games of one pocket today. Might be a long night, Fraser.
Yeah, it might be a long night. I'm in for it. I got a lot of rest, so nice low ball kick to the 7. Justin aware that the cue ball most likely not going to scratch if he catches it right. But Little John already eyeing up the cross corner on the 4.
Risky shot.
Yeah, he's hit it great, and I believe it's going to fall.
Yeah,
I tell
that's a
you
good
what,
shot.
yeah, I'll tell you what, good signs from Little John. Really off the back rail when he crossed the 7, I believe it was, and kicked the 5 out. That tells you right away that he is prepared because the shot that he had to play there was really an accurate hit. And it changed everything in this game, and it's actually a game-winning shot because it created all these openings for him and now makes a great back cut bank on the 4.
Oh, a little shy on that one.
Yeah, it's okay. He was really trying to play the cue ball a little bit more, I think. Now, this is going to be the situations where Bergman's kind of got his back against the wall. I can't tell from here if he can see really any of the 7. I don't believe so.
I think he can come into the back of it, but I'm not sure if that's the way you really want to play that shot. You got to be careful with the cue ball here.
Well, if he can come into the back of it softly, then that's good. But also come into the back of the 11 and the 7, pushing the 11 up with a little more speed. But if he can get the window, yeah. So I'm not quite used to these angles yet, and it won't take me too long.
And this table, I mean, Scott, you've played on this table a couple times, and it's it's been changed a couple times over the years. These are tight pockets, but because of the humidity and the style of weather that Louisville gets, it can play very tight. I did get word that the cloth is fairly fresh. I think it's what did he say? Maybe 3 weeks old, Scott, and I think that will help some of these balls fall in. Um, but it is a tight table.
Yeah, definitely doesn't play like a 4 1/4. Yeah, gonna look. He's taking a look at the 5, right? The key is he's got to protect against the red 3. And so he's just, really, that's the most important thing. He needs this cue ball just above the left side pocket. Wants to catch it full. Oh wow, he's hit it great. Look at the cue ball finish there. And I don't know if he has that gap that he had last time to get behind the 7, but if he doesn't, this is big trouble, little China for Bergman. There is a chance of kicking behind the 5 and making the 7. If you hit it well, the 7 could stop the cue ball. You send the 5 towards your side. The 11 would play as cover.
I think that might be what he. Okay, he's just going to go in between again, leaving that
Oh,
gap.
he's gotten fortunate the last 2 times to have that gap. Must be bigger than it looks from here because it sure doesn't look like an automatic gap to me. And Little John has accidentally found it for Bergman twice now. Gonna just chip off the 11, but you're moving that away now.
Trying to put him in the stack, doesn't quite get there.
Yeah, I don't quite know if, I mean, he was pretty quick to that decision. I don't quite know if that was the play because now they're going to go up and away. Bergman can soft kick to the 7. I don't think it's time to force the 3. I don't see anything really sweet following it unless he has to force punch over. But now I think they go up and away if he softs to the back side of the 7 because there's no real way, unless Little John wants to take a foul 2 rails towards the 8 and 10, there's no real way to protect those balls. Unless he's got a trip or clip off the 5 here. You can dig in maybe with the low and say, yeah, there's a good look. So you can come off of it. Yeah, these balls are most likely going up and away. And come off the 11 now. The key is Little John's going to be aggressive. Bergman has to know that. And this is something I think it's important. I don't think you have to play spectacular if you're Bergman. I think you have to play solid. And what I mean by solid is you really got to pay attention to the cue ball. That's first and foremost when you're giving up these big spots. Shot making secondary. So he wants to just leave him just right of this lower right diamond, I think would be a perfect position. Well, that's problems. The 11 and 3 tying up. I figured he'd get into the ball a lot more. That was pretty weak. Maybe a decel from Bergman. Cue ball did not finish anywhere near the bottom rail. I think Little John's got to look at the 9 as well if he want. Excuse me, if he wants to look at the 9. Yes, this is. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, this is bad for Justin simply because if Little John does try this ball and misses, there's nothing going towards Justin's pocket because the 3 and the 11 are tied up. Now Little John made a great shot there, but Justin's going to have something available. If he gets back to the table, he's going to have to make something available. Otherwise, he's in a really bad spot.
Yeah, well, the problem there was the cue ball was a foot from where it needed to be. And that's what Justin has to do, or he will get beat. And beat handily, because you can't afford to leave Little John off the rail and in an open position. He's going to get 6 easily that way. I mean, he was I get it, it's game number 1, but the 11 didn't get anywhere to the left side of the table where it needed to be. And that's really what you have to do. You have to be perfect in that situation. Now, he's missed the 5. This is something you can't count on if you're Bergman, obviously. Little John pockets the ball very well. And you've touched on it, Stephen. For Little John's speed, money's not going to get to him. He's got plenty of experience. and he has plenty of fear. Now, can he chip the 5 out at the same time here with a low outside ball? Maybe what he's looking at. I can't fault him for playing this, especially if the 8 doesn't go or anything in that little cluster. He'd love to be able to get the 7 down and chip this out. I don't feel like it was a massive miss for Little John because he's still in pretty big control, but definitely gave Bergman an opportunity still. And to your point, Stephen, the 3 and 11, that was all due to maybe a decel on the 11 because he's got to get that 11 past the 3.
Yeah, this is a tough spot now because in a situation where you're giving up so many balls to a player that can make balls, I mean, Little John's not going to miss that 5 ball very often. That was we can call it first game nerves, whatever you want to call it, but he's not going to do it very often. But leaving it in the pocket there and in a sense forcing Justin to have to play that to get it out of there, Little John needs two. And that's just a really tough position. I think we all know that Justin Bergman is a little bit of a slow starter. So I think the important part for John is to get ahead early, put the
Well, there's going to
pressure
be
on Justin.
there's going to be a lot of games, and Justin knows this. There's going to be a lot of games where Macias needs 2 and Justin needs 7 or 8. There's going to be a lot of games where Macias needs 2 and Justin needs 10. And Bergman knows this. He's given up the spot enough times. I don't think he feels like he's an underdog, so to speak, when the guy needs 2 and he needs 10. He knows he's going to outthink and outmove him, and he's typically going to out-execute him. It was a big 5 he missed. He's got to look at the 3 here with an opportunity to really get back in the game. But this is where the execution does obviously matter. Justin, a world-class player, I just don't know because we don't see a lot of him, Stephen, how he's really playing, right? He spends a lot of time in St. Louis.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot of 8 ball lately. I know that much, but I mean, we've seen him play one pocket match against Tony a couple months ago, which he came out ahead in. But we don't really know how much he's playing one pocket.
Well, I did talk to him. I touched on that in my live. He said for the last 3.5 weeks, he's been playing every day, giving up the big spots. And I think that's the best training when you're giving up big spots. It's not the same as when you're betting 200 plus thousand, but it is good training for you. He just missed the 3 long there. Otherwise, he had a real chance to win this game.
Yeah, and just to touch on something Kyle opened up a little earlier, and we talked about it. There is somewhere around the angle of $240,000 up for grabs in this match. It's quite possibly one of the biggest money matches we've ever seen. So this is huge. There's a lot of money on the line, and for a player who's he's getting weight, but he's not a world class one pocket player. You would think that would make him sweat a little bit, but Little John, he doesn't sweat the money. He's been in these situations, maybe not this much, but he's been in these situations a lot.
Yeah, huge miss there by that young man, Little John. I mean, I felt like it was the right play instead of shooting the 10 into it. Obviously, he puts Bergman in a bad spot if he doesn't make, or if he does make the 3. So I don't blame him for shooting it at all, but a little surprised he came so short. I think Little John's been here for 3 or 4 days from what I hear, and should be pretty familiar with the table. That being said, the table does change at times. Wants to catch a piece of the 5, I believe, unless the 6 goes clean. Yeah, I think he does want to catch a piece of the 5, just feather it. Now he went into it full, which is a little surprising because you're probably going to end up steep. Maybe a decel again there. Maybe to your point, Stephen, both of them feeling a little bit. And listen, it is game number 1, so that does happen. Got to get the jitters out. Neither one of them might not settle for the first 4, 5, 6 games. That's common.
Yeah, they say the hardest game to win is the first one and the last one. Justin's got a cut on this ball. Um, are you playing for? Are you trying to play it soft to get to the 11, or what do you think?
Well, first off, I think Little John needs three. He did foul when he went to kick the three. So it gives Bergman a little breathing room, but really he's betting the game on the shot. It can't fault him. It carries position to the 11. I think he wants to just dig in and kill. I mean, that's the only ball can you get to unless he thinks he can get to the 14. Oh, he used an outside ball. Kind of ensures the make a little bit better. But now, does he chance the game with the 11, right? If you hit it a little bit bad, you could leave across corner. You could leave straight in. So what's he thinking here? Just coming over shallow of the 14 to the 5, but at worst, you want to hang this ball up. Obviously, trying to make it, but he's using a little bit of an inside ball, and when the game is got some tension in it, this is easily missed. And that tells us how he's feeling. And that's kind of one of his fortes versus a lot of the pros is an inside ball. Justin really comfortable with the inside ball, whereas a lot of the elite players will do what they can to avoid it. So that's a good look at how he's feeling there. Huge 5 ball that Little John missed. Now, I didn't think it was going to hurt him as bad as it has. But then also a big kick that Little John came short on. And this is short.
Was he playing for the bank on the 14 and he just didn't get there?
Yeah, I think so. But at this point, I don't know how he can hold the cue ball unless he chances going towards the 13 maybe. But I think that's a little risky. Can he just kill it with an inside ball? Stay short of the 8? You just don't want to risk going past the 8. It might draw towards the 13 here, which is a little dangerous. You want to hit it full. Yeah. Yeah, and so that's a chance that I didn't expect him to take, right? So that tells us a lot. When you get back in the game and you're playing even, you really chance going at something like that to lose the game. You've got to catch the 13 full there. So that tells us a lot, a big opportunity for Little John. And he's like, wow, I didn't expect this opportunity.
Yeah, well, the table's what's in play right now. Both guys needing everything.
Yeah, each player needs 2, both players. No, and he's chunked it heavy. That ball could have turned over a little bit. Nerves definitely a factor early. Understandable. Unless you've been in this position, I tell you what, the heart rate's way up there for both of these guys right now. That will settle after a couple of games.
This is a bit of a free shot here, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like the term because I don't feel like there's such a thing as anything free, but absolutely, Stephen.
I guess the term would be less risky, is what we'll go with.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I don't know how big a game this really proves to be, right, in the future. Does it set the tone, or does Little John come back with a great break and just sweep another game real quick, or sweep this game real quick? Bergman would like to do everything he can to slow Little John down here.
And this is one of those weird matches. It's kind of hard to call because the weight is in play. Obviously, there's a lot of money on the line, and it's a long race. There's a lot of pool to be played. In a race to 7, you can sometimes get an idea of how the match might go based on the first game, but when it's a race to 21 over 2 days, you just don't have that same ability. And you, like you said, Little John here, he's going to break same side as Justin, so he'll be shooting towards the left pocket. Little John's break is something that you said is just, it's going to be a huge factor. How do you feel like that one came out?
Not terrible, and it'll get better as the match goes on. He's really good at getting into the cue ball, kind of with a low inside ball. Something that a lot of amateurs don't really do. And I teach this in my class when I'm teaching one pocket is the high inside ball kind of deflects off the object balls, right? It'll back up before it goes forward. What the great players do is use an inside ball and allow it to turn over, and it really gives you a better spread. Now, obviously, the spread here isn't great, but look at the three, still a problem. Cue ball's good, and maybe get a look at the overhead here if it's possible. Yeah, so he might be forced to just come off of something, but I think you've got to move the 13. So if you want to just frame the 13 towards the top of the three, it might be okay. Sometimes you've just got to gamble. I don't like trying to do anything with the three unless you think you can get protection on the 13. Could just drift off the 13, but boy, I feel like it's just biding your time there. Yeah, and he chose to just drift off of it. Little John probably looking at some type of a kick to the stack. And this is kind of what I was touching on early, is I think he's really good at recognizing, even if he doesn't get a ball down, even if he's got to take a few chances, he's really good at moving things to his side. 7 going to get a rail, and the value is there. Bergman does have a 1-rail kick, or 2-rail kick below the 3, excuse me.
Huge. Sorry, my apologies. Huge action going on, and that was a really good shot. Just a reminder, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, make sure you get your pay-per-view pass at xpool.live. Do not miss out on that opportunity because we're not going to be live on those platforms for very long. My name is Stephen Wyatt. Of course, we have the Hall of Famer, the Freezer Scott Frost, giving you all the play-by-play and doing it very, very well. I'll let him get back to that, but go get your pay-per-view pass ASAP.
You're the man, Stephen. Thank you for everything you do, bud. Soft 2-rail kick to the 3. The thing I was going to point out is the 4-9 kind of wired up to Little John's pocket. Uh-oh, that's thin. That's thin. That okay. The speed was okay. I see Little John maybe going at the 13, maybe kicking at the top side of that, or the 4-9. And the 3 might help the 9 now. If the 9 is going a little bit high, the 3 will help it. So this is a big bullet for Little John. Excuse me, big bullet for Bergman to dodge here. And the 3 did help the 9. Kind of jammed up behind the 10 now. But Bergman, this is going to be the thing about this match, is Little John's going to win some quick games. Bergman used to giving up the big spots, but how much of it can he fade? He's going to have to play solid all the way through. He's going to take some big blows, and you've just got to fade it, right? You're going to know that these barrages come. Fortunately for Bergman, didn't get a great look. Now Little John kind of forced. Do you have to go to the 13? He's trying to just put him right back somewhere where he is now. The only concern, and he's taking a look at it, does he leave Bergman some type of a look at the straight back on the 2 or the 14 to where he can put him back in the pile? So you got to kind of think ahead here. I wouldn't be against shooting the 14 towards the bottom of the 5 and going forward.
Scott, I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to go ahead and do it for just a second. We do have another very special guest for you, somebody that you're very familiar with. We're going to bring in the one and only Jason Sword to talk shop with you guys.
Oh, I couldn't miss a $240,000 match, Freezer.
Jay Diddy.
In the house.
Thanks a lot, Steven. What's up, Jay Diddy? How are you, my man?
Oh, doing pretty good. Sorry I was running a little late. This match got kicked off a little early.
Well, you are, I'm going to say it, you are the worst player with the most knowledge.
I'll take that, man. I'll take that.
You are. I mean, you're really good at understanding the game. I mean, here's a guy that was teaching me back when I was playing Efren, and you really were. So good stuff to have you in. It's always good to have Steven in. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's great as well. Kyle's developed a real good team here.
I'll tell you what, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Bergman's in a tough spot this wreck. Wasn't the best of breaks, was it, Scott? But a couple nice returns from Little John.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that that's what Little John does pretty good, right? Is keep the pressure on, especially when he's breaking the balls. He understands how to keep the heat on you.
Yeah.
Watch.
You got to be careful there. I'm really surprised he used the 3 instead of the 13 there. He's giving up a shot.
Could he see the 13, Jason?
I think he could see the bottom of it. He moved the 3 away from his hole and gave up a shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you can see the 13 there, I think you've got to go to the 13.
I don't know if you've done much talking about it, Freezer, but what are your thoughts on the game overall? This is a big spot, my man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, really, I went live. I mean, it was kind of dumb. I went live. I don't typically do that, but I went live yesterday because I just wanted to touch on it. I've had experience giving Little John this game, and I think Bergman's cue ball is probably better than mine, and he executes, in my opinion. Well, he executes now better than I do for sure, but I don't think he's I don't know. I don't think he's like a big underdog the way I read it all the time. I think he can get 6 and then 5 as good as a Little John can get 6. And I think he's going to work real hard to keep Little John off the shot. That being said, he's jumped to 13.
Yeah, I'm like you. I think that obviously Bergman, you know, I've been in Bergman's corner for a number of years, and I'm probably his biggest fan. I've watched as much of Bergman as any other player other than maybe Federer. His cue ball's perfect, and I'll tell you what, man, when the big money's on the light, he just seems to get it. But this game is very tough, holding Little John to 5. And, you know, Little John knows how to play the game. He's not going to dog it. A lot of people, when you're up against a champion, you're going to dog it and you're going to fold.
Right.
Little John is not that type of player, man. He gets up for these moments, and the bigger the crowd, the bigger the moment, the better he seems to play. And that's usually not the case for a shortstop. So it's interesting. I think that Little John's a slight favorite in the match, but it doesn't mean that Bergman can't win.
Yeah, and I felt like Little John's a slight dog. And when I say slight dog, I'm talking like, and I know people are going to think I'm crazy, but I've done kind of the numbers. I think like a 3 to 5% dog. Now, anything can happen. I think he's a slight dog in the game. But we're talking about, splitting hairs here. It's just a tough game any way you slice it.
But that's perfect, right? That's the perfect gambling match. That's how you get a ton of money on both sides, is it's super close. And, you know, a lot of people have a strong opinion about this game both ways.
Yeah, and I respect all those opinions. It's just hard to bet against the better player a lot of times, but this guy's just not a better player. You just touched on it. His cue ball is really good, and typically doesn't take chances when he doesn't need to. Now, I've seen that already in the last 2 games. I feel like he's taken a couple of chances that he didn't need to, but I think everything will change with both of these guys over time. Little John definitely not executing the way he needs to yet either, and that's going to change.
Yeah, one thing I can tell you, Scott, I've played. You know, I'm not a player, but I like to get in and just kind of mix it up with you guys a little bit. And I've played, a lot of the great players, and I'll tell you this: Bergman made me want to quit. He made me want to quit playing one pocket because I never got a shot. When he wants to squeeze, he can.
Exactly. He's very good with it. Very good with the cue ball.
And like you said, I mean, obviously, playing the game of one pocket and holding somebody on 5 are two different games, 2 different strategies. Justin Bergman is one of the best at holding a man down. Kind of like you, Scott. You know, I think that if it were me and I were stack ranking who gives up weight the best, I think it's Alex and you and Bergman, obviously Dennis. I haven't seen, Federer
Dennis's style.
Spots, but
Dennis's style was the only one that was a little different, right? That guy just doesn't miss, and he played like a really weird, simple style, giving up the weight. But I would agree, and I mean, for me now, I'm out of the picture, which I'm perfectly fine with. But yeah, I think there's a few guys. I haven't seen Federer give up the weight either. Now, his cue ball is so good, it's just hard to bet against him.
Well, I mean, he can give up weight, but I feel like that it takes a ton of knowledge to be able to give it up the way that Bergman can. He's just played so many racks of it, and there's with him not going on the road a ton, he plays locals, which forces him to give up weight.
I agree. And we're not going to talk about this too much, guys. So don't sweat it too much. But I would just had a conversation with Doug Booth actually, and I think that I would rather bet on Bergman giving Little John 11-6, and I'm just being honest, than betting on Feder giving Little John 12-6 because of what you just said. It takes a lot of knowledge, and in no disrespect to Feder, but he just doesn't play. I mean, he really doesn't have a lot of hours playing one pocket period, and he's still probably top 3 one pocket players in the world. So huge credit to him. But the knowledge quite isn't there as far as giving up the giant spots. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that.
No, I mean, you're right. Obviously, the better player doesn't mean that they give up weight better. Two
Right.
different things.
All right, now does he go towards the 5, J. Diddy, off the 3?
Yeah, he's trying to get back in the pack there.
That's a great play because it's going to be hard for Justin to come off the 5 now unless he's going to lose position. Now this is kind of where I thought Justin's also great. He never sweats taking fouls, right? And if you take a foul this lower left corner, just kind of covering the 3 up, I think it's okay. Just down here towards the center diamond. Coming off the 5 though, Jason, I feel like you can open an opportunity up to lose your position, right? Now you could leave a bank on the 1, you could leave a bank on the 11.
Yeah, I'm with you. Giving up a foul in these situations when you're giving up this big spot is huge. You got to know when to do it. Doesn't really mean a lot, right, Scott? Like the statistics
Exactly.
say, Bergman taking a foul doesn't mean hardly anything. If you're Little John, you never want a foul.
Exactly. And see, now he's moving the 11, which is really a helper for him. I think moving the 11 is worth more than a ball than just taking the foul to where his leg is now. He didn't do bad. He did great with the cue ball. But the 11 was really kind of working for him. He's neither here nor there. Not going to pick him apart. He knows what he's doing. And he hit it really well.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of time talking about that, Scott. How a lot of people don't really understand. If you're taking a foul and you're going to 6, it's 1/6 of the way that you need to go. Your Bergman, it's 1/11 of the way that you need to go. So it just doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, and just like right there, okay, if you take the foul towards this lower left diamond, you can't see, Little John can't, there's too many J's here, first off. Little John can't see that stripe up there, right? So now the whole game and the position changes. Not saying it's right or wrong, just talking about how beneficial a foul can be for you in Bergman's position. Now he knows that, and over time he'll start to do that. What about the 5, Jason? It's not available?
No, I don't think so.
Well, pretty good shot by Little John, even though he caught the 15 full.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see Bergman open up the 7-2 as well. They were helping him. I don't know what he's looking at here, Scott.
Yeah, don't you maybe consider going forward on the 7?
That's what I like. That's the reason why I was mentioning it. I don't know, is he coming off the 10 some type of way? I don't.
You know, what about looking at maybe the 3 and tucking under the 11? Is that just too crazy?
I don't think it's too crazy at all.
He's not looked at that at all.
He's coming off this 1 ball.
Oof.
This is easy
Almost.
to give up across corner here. He's coming off the 10. He was lining up the 1. Just playing all cue ball.
Yeah, something he does that typically when we're teaching we don't recommend. He was down on the ball looking at the 1, never got off the ball, and then just adjusted to the 10. And he does that a lot. That's kind of built into his game. But a lot of times when an amateur does that, or even myself, you're not gonna execute the way you should. You want to get all the way off the ball, but Justin does that a lot, which will mislead you.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more deliberate players, though. He's walks a lot of puts a lot of steps in when he's playing a match. That's for sure. He checks all the angles. Definitely very careful. It's part of
Well, I
why his
think
cue ball's so good, right?
agreed. I think Federer's good at that as well. For as great as Federer is, you constantly see him even in rotation pool, especially in rotation pool. He'll constantly look at where he needs to be with the cue ball, which I think is, for an elite player, very respectful. You don't see a lot of elite players do that almost every inning. And Federer is one of those guys that's so deliberate and looks at everything and where he needs to be.
Is he looking at banking the one toward his hole here and where he wants the cue ball? Maybe just put a
For
threat
the
on his
three?
side and just challenge Little John. He's looking to go up table here, Scott.
Yeah, just trimming off the one to the top left corner. Boy, the 5 is a big ball to scratch off of there if you're trying to do that. And that's kind of why I thought he might use the 3 last shot that we touched on, excuse me. He didn't use the 3, so now he's going to just bare ball go up there. That's dangerous. Once again, Jason, we've touched on the foul. I mean, I think he's aware of it. You can just take a 1-rail foul down to this, lower left diamond. Little John keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, this is a big inning here, Scott. I think he does have a piece of the 3, though. I'm looking off screen. I think he has the edge of the 3 here.
Yeah, but that 4 is so easy to leave available.
You got to leave the cue ball down and put the 3 near your hole, right? Put a ton of pressure. Maybe Little John passes, and you at least get out of this half of the inning here.
Yeah, I would take a foul down to the lower left diamond. I think you're really risking things here the way these balls are positioned.
Yeah, now Little John can shoot the 4. Really, I don't know. The risk is giving up a cross on the 15, right, Scott?
Yeah, he does have a risk. If he doesn't hang it up, he's really risking a lot. But can he cross the 3? I don't know if you can see enough. Can you tell, Jason?
Yeah, I think he can. I don't know if he can make it, but he can definitely get it over to his side and get the cue ball back up table.
I'll tell you what, game number 1, he made a cross, but he didn't make it, but he hit a cross bank like the 3. It was really good. He's going at the 4.
Knocked it down. Most people don't
Nice
like rolling
shot.
that ball like that, Scott.
No, and I mean, that's something he does well. It's not going to bother him to roll the ball. He was really all out, just going at the pocket there.
And if you're Little John, you got to take those opportunities. When you get an opportunity to shoot, you got to do it. Going to 6.
Yeah, maybe a little quick down on that last ball. Not exactly sure where he wanted to be. Going to have to cross the 3 now. Not the end of the world. The 12 does play, I believe.
Yeah, and this is the same table that we've seen a lot of action matches on. This table changes. It's pretty humid. Rained a little bit here yesterday in Louisville. So you will see the table change. We talked about it a lot, Scott. Action matches here at the rail yard. This table. It's not,
Yeah,
it's not
it's
easy.
It's not. It's 4 1/4, but it does not play like it's 4 1/4. It's a little bit misleading. You better respect it.
I feel like the rails change a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's kind of stationed right by a big wall of windows, and I think it's kind of a fun thing, right? Because it's not fun when you're playing, because I had to deal with it, but the table conditions change, and I think that kind of makes things interesting. When it's raining out, it'll change. When the humidity's high, it'll change. Looking to come off the 7.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty tough one here. He's looking for something offensive, isn't he?
He's looking to maybe bank the 12 towards the back, the 3, and whip around to the top left corner. Watch out. You got to avoid the 1 here.
Oh. They both went back over to Little John's hole. Did he do good with the cue ball, though?
Yeah, but that isn't any good. I don't know how they both went back to his pocket.
Yeah, that was pretty unlucky. He actually hit it pretty good. Played the cue ball perfectly.
Yeah, there must have been some type of kiss there initially in order to keep the. Yeah, there had to have been some type of a kiss, I believe.
Little John right here, Scott. What do you do to keep this position?
Can you come off the 5 over just above the right side pocket? Maybe using the 1 for cover as well.
That's what he did.
Yeah, and he put the 5 in position too. So very, very good.
Does Justin have a kick to the left side of the 5 ball here? He's kind of moving it away from the hole a little bit. I can't tell. 3's hanging though.
Yeah, this is trouble. He's going to fram towards maybe the 12 or the back of the 3, or he's looking at framming the 1 towards the back of the 3 maybe, and just tucking up behind the 11 if he can get there. Or even into the 12, Jason, I think. He's just trying to scramble something here.
Call this rearranging some furniture.
Yeah, and that's a great look.
Oh, wow. Goes back over there as well. The cue ball, though, Scott.
He's good with the cue ball. I think he wanted to get past the 11, and he just drew it straight up, so I don't know if the 12-1 is on. 5 is thin. I think you've got to... I don't know, Jason. I mean, the 5 is available. You just don't want to overcut it.
He's just going to come off the 3 and go back up in that corner. Did well with the cue ball as well.
Yeah, really nice shot there. Really good. Yeah, I don't know if you can roll to the off the left side of the 5 here. I don't know if this lower left corner is a problem. I think it is. And that changes everything for Bergman. I mean, he can soft roll the 5 up towards the 3. Dangerous. Really dangerous.
This is not a spot you like to be in. 9 feet away. All the balls in front of your opponent when he's going to a short 6.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt about it. If he comes off the left side, I mean, the scratch is huge. I think he's just got to bump the 5 up towards the 3.
Yeah. He was trying to go into the 1 with some speed, wasn't he? He was trying to move a couple there.
Yeah, he was trying to come into the back of the 1 off the bottom rail, and the hit was much more difficult. Can't fault him. Little John should do the damage here.
Playing for 3.
And really, I think he should have won the first game as well, so Bergman might need to go back to the drawing board. It is early. Little John going to continue to apply this type of pressure, though, and he does move good.
And just like that, Little John gets on the board.
Oh, what a really good game that one was. Little John's going to tie it up. Guys, I got a little bit of bad news for you if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. This is the final rack that we're going to be live for free. Make sure you go get your pay-per-view pass at xpool.live. That's where you're going to get to see all the rest of the action, and we've got a lot of it to come. Huge shout out to Jam Up Apparel, one of the best in the business, if not the best. Railbirds, Q Repair, and Pro Shop. Anytime I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, I go out there and I get them to work on my tip. Lou does a great job, as well as the Lucasi Pro line. If you haven't seen their cues, man, it's really incredible stuff. Sean, Tell me a little bit about Napa.
Yeah, man. Napa is actually a really cool league. It's built for everybody. There's no handicap limit. It's you can play with your friends. You don't have to worry about breaking up a team. It's a perfect opportunity to get with all your buddies, have a good time, and win some good money. So with that, we're going to take it away to commercials real quick, guys, and we're going to cut the Facebook and YouTube stream, and we'll be right back on the pay-per-view. Cheers, everybody.
My name's Jeff Jones. I'm a part of the Northmen. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Jam Up stuff for a long time because I love the level of detail they get with the custom designs. I mean, that's the best part. They're extremely breathable. You know, I'm a bigger guy. I, do everything I can to have them be breathable, leaning over tables. They're super flexible. All these guys wearing the same jerseys, but having a bunch of different teams come down. It's a lot of camaraderie. It's pretty awesome with the Jam Up stuff. The fact that they're so breathable, so flexible. I mean, it's perfect sport.
And we are back. If you're watching, that's because you have become a subscriber to xpool.live. You are on the good side and you get to see all the action. My name is Steve.